think? Pretty cold out. Grant and I are sitting in the car here, waiting. It's kind of sleeting and raining right now, so we gotta wait to take the camera out. We're just gonna go in at first light. It's November 11th.
It's your birthday.
There we go. I was hoping you'd remember.
The big 2-5.
I feel so old.
25 sounds old.
It
like
sounds old. I think 26 sounds younger than 25. Does that make sense?
No.
I can rent a car now.
Yeah.
Last thing. You gotta be 30 to run for president, right?
40.
40.
And 65 for retirement.
See, there's
You're never gonna retire though.
No, there's some milestones that need to be hit yet, age-wise. So. But anyway, Grant and I are going back into the same area that we saw that buck last night. We saw a lot of deer last night, and the weather was actually super warm. We've had a 40-degree temperature drop from last night. We got super high winds all throughout the day today. It's going to be blowing like 30 miles an hour. But all those deer last night kind of came out on the same trail to this bean field, and I guess the plan for this morning is we're just going to get basically to the same spot, but we're going to be on the ground. We're just going to sit and watch over this bean field at first light. If there's nothing out on the bean field, we're going to walk over to the pasture that we saw all the deer in yesterday morning. And if there's nothing out there, then we're going to start working our way up into the bedding area. We've got super good conditions today for ground hunting and still hunting, so we're going to take advantage of it and probably be moving around a lot today. Hopefully we can find some cover where we can get out of the wind, and I'd imagine that's where the deer are going to be. So let's get in there. It's thick. Some palm through, you think? Where you're looking up at the thing. A lot of sign in here from him. Maybe a different big one, I'd imagine. Dang. So they sit here and watch for a little bit. Alright, we moved up 150 yards in the direction that buck spooked to. And Grant had the mask pulled down like a savage, and we were both crouched by the time that he noticed that we were there. I was straight on the backside of a cedar tree. I got an arrow knocked and drawn back without him ever even looking at me. And I just needed him to take like one more step to the left and I would have been able to get an arrow through a little hole that I had. Grant was on the right side of the cedar and he was kind of walking and gonna walk right past it. Grant was behind me and he stopped when he saw Grant kind of kneeling on the ground there. I'm sure he doesn't really know exactly what we were, but he knew something wasn't right. Wind was perfect right in our face. He didn't smell us. He just saw something real weird sitting there with the mask on, and then eventually blew and ran off. But we've been having really good luck catching back up to bucks after spooking them. You guys haven't seen any of those videos yet from Iowa, but you'll see in the next couple videos from Iowa. Ted and I spooked 3-4 different bucks, big ones like that, and caught back up to them the same day. This is a pretty small little bedding area, and I think if he stays in here, which I really think he might, especially after seeing all the sign after getting into it. That sleet stopped, sure enough. He was up on his feet. He was moving through the thick in here. I'm glad we got up and came in here. I don't think he was going to come out to that field, but I think he was just cruising around this bedding area.
Maybe he heard us.
Might have heard us, yeah. Might have heard us and got up and was coming to check us out. I think he's going to be in here with us. It's just a matter of if we can get eyes on him first. We're just going to probably move slow through this bedding area, at least into the midday, I think. There's a really good chance that we shoot a different buck too. This opens up in here in the middle of this cedar thicket, and I can see one passing through out here cruising. That was a big guy. I think it was one from last night, I'm not sure, but I would imagine it was. It was a big deer. They were both big 10-point type bucks, but hopefully it wasn't the same one. Hopefully there's two of them around. And Mike, honestly, with the weather the way it is today, you can get a buck that just comes barreling down in here from miles away, 6 yards. I think he was closer than that. Like there's a cedar tree that we basically I was touching one side of the cedar tree with my bow when I drew, and that deer was literally touching the other side of the cedar tree. I had my pin on him, but like there was too much little stuff in the way. It wasn't even little stuff, it was bigger branches that are like this big around. I wasn't going to shoot through it. But if you'd have walked away instead of running, which I'm not surprised that he did by any means, but if he had just taken one or two more steps to the left, I think we would be pretty two happy dudes right now. Just another close call where we're filming deer and they're getting away, but it's fun. Yeah. I was just about to start getting down and crawling underneath this cedar that's kind of open underneath the canopy. You can crawl, and I don't like standing up walking through it because the deer can see down to the bottom of it, so I like crawling through the stuff so you can see better than they can, or as well as they can, so maybe you can get eyes on them before they see your legs walking through if you're standing up. I was just about to start doing that, and I look behind me and things just marching right at us. Dang. Alright, so we're back at the truck. Walked through that whole bedding area that we ran into him in. Found a bunch of sign. Surprisingly, we didn't run into any other deer. Like there was a bunch of does in there yesterday. Moved through that whole bedding area that we saw him in, and we decided, but we're gonna just drive around a little bit and maybe walk through a couple other pieces while we got really good conditions. Get into a couple fresh areas, hopefully, and maybe get eyes on some from the vehicle. I would imagine we're gonna see some bucks. I don't know. I'd imagine if they're holding up for the day with does or something, they're going to be in these thicker cedar patches, but if they're trying to find a new hot doe or something, they'll be still willing to go across these fields. But I guess that's what we're going to go find out. We'll drive around maybe for an hour or so, see what we see, and if that doesn't seem like it's working, then we'll get back out and start working through some of these cedar patches, because I'd imagine that's where the deer are going to spend their time today with this wind. We got into that cedar patch and it really wasn't bad at all, but when we were walking across the open field out here, it was pretty crazy cold, 30 degrees and 30-mile-an-hour wind. So The wind chill's cold. Mile and a half. You want to go for a walk?
Mile and a half?
That's where this pin is that I've got dropped that I must have pinned this winter sometime.
Yeah, let's go for a little walkabout.
Grant and I have been walking around today, midday, checking out a bunch of new spots that we haven't been into at all, just kind of burning through them, doing some calling. And we actually rattled a buck in, a real nice buck, at the last spot that we were at. And now we're at a piece just south of it, and I've got this pin drop that I must have marked sometime when I was scouting this winter, just on Onyx, looking at different properties. And it's just like open pasture ground, it looks like, but then when you get way back in there, there's a lake, and it looks like along the edge of that lake it's really good habitat, and then there might be a little marsh back in there. I'm not sure if it's underwater or not, but looks like there's really good bedding really deep in there. So there's been a fair amount of people actually parked around here. Every time we drive past there's a couple vehicles, and actually right now there's 2 vehicles parked here, but there's a lot of land also, so I think a little pressure could be a good thing. It could have the deer concentrated more into one area. They kind of are spread out throughout these draws, and there's actually not that high of a deer density around here, it doesn't seem like, but you can see really far, so we're seeing a lot of deer. But the actual deer per square mile probably isn't as high as the states that we're used to hunting further east. So hopefully with a little bit of pressure that's been going on around it, if we get way back in there, we can get it away from where people have been hunting, and there's deer stacked up back in there. But it kind of looks like a cool spot along this lake where bucks could be cruising the downwind side of bedding areas. So I think we'll just keep doing what we've been doing in all these other spots, is just walking, trying to get eyes on bucks that are cruising, or maybe got a doe. It's pretty open, and the conditions are right to be able to spot them and maybe see them before they see you. And then if we get to a spot that looks like it's good to maybe do some rattling or calling, we'll do that. But getting out of the wind has been the key today, so we're just going to kind of keep targeting these drainage areas that have cedars in them, and hopefully we can run into a buck. But that's the gist of what we're doing. We're just going to keep walking with the wind in our face and hit all these areas that look good on the map. So hopefully we can strike one up here midday.
Waiting clogged up.
Right. Yep. They're the same buck.
Huh?
They're not the same buck.
I just looked up and it was one of those things where you can't believe your eyes.
No.
This big old thing coming at 20 yards.
If you had told me that thing was gonna spook if I tried to stop him, I would have never believed you.
You're gonna shoot him right there from him?
Yeah, start moving slow again. Alright, so came in to try this new spot and spooked a bunch of deer right up by the road. And I asked Grant if he wanted to go for a walk, because I had this pin from middle of the winter when I was up at like 3 o'clock in the morning looking at maps. And this spot's like 1.5 miles deep. And we just hoofed it all the way back here, just power walked the whole thing. The wind's blowing so hard that I mean, we were just power walking there when you guys saw that, but I wanted to get back to this little lake back in here. Just because it looked pretty cool on the map. The stuff that's down low is underwater that I thought would be good bedding, but around this whole rim of this lake is real good bedding, it looks like too.
Again, did you hear me say, wait, I'm fogged up?
No, I thought you said, I don't know what you were saying, I guess.
I guess I wasn't about to call you off the shot.
You couldn't see anything?
The screen, I couldn't see anything. It may have just been the screen.
Probably was from running. So I don't know what you guys can see, but what I saw was pretty cool. So we did a rattling sequence, started moving up again, and Grant says, get down. So obviously I know he sees a deer, and he's walking straight at us, right down the trail that we're walking on. I'm drawing back, and the thing's coming straight down the trail we're on. He's like 10 yards away. I go to stop him, and like he didn't even lift his head up. I don't think. Maybe we'll see in the footage, but I didn't want him to keep coming to like 4 yards and then look up and bolt. I guess that's what I figured would happen. That's why I tried to stop him, but apparently it was the wrong move. He had his head down, so I wasn't going to shoot him walking towards us. I don't know.
He's kind of doing like the bird dog thing.
Oh yeah. Do you hear him grunt?
Yeah.
Oh man. That hurts. That one almost hurts more than this morning because I had a shot at that thing. Like I could have killed him. Obviously I did something wrong, I think. I don't know what. Maybe he would have stopped right after I was about to do that and I would have got a shot, but it's one of those deals where I didn't want him to just like, he was literally going to run us over if he didn't lift his head up, but my thought was, I guess, my thinking was he was going to lift his head up and like, then he was going to just like immediately bolt. We're just going to sit here, gather ourselves, maybe shoot a buck while we're doing that. And if not, I don't necessarily love where we're at right now. We're on a good trail, I know. I just don't necessarily love the exact setup we got on it, so it's a lot of running. I'm 25 now, dude. I can't be doing that much running. Dang it. That's it for today, I think. Running out of camera light here. We kind of just came up to this spot at last light because we couldn't find a real good setup that we were confident in. The wind was still up, so we just kept moving around throughout the afternoon here. But got drawn back twice. I was thinking about it, and I guess the one thing I may have done different on that second buck is maybe tried to stop him out further. That could have worked, don't you think? It wouldn't have been such a shock to him if he would have looked. He wouldn't have been so close. I just thought he'd stop on his own, I guess, but it's enough talk about that. I guess tomorrow gonna be another real great weather day. Today was fun though. It's fun when you get those conditions this time of year, especially like we were. I think Grant and I both said 5-10 different times, this is awesome. I mean, we just kept walking into deer and being able to get close to them. Gonna start hiking out of here. Pretty fun day. So hopefully tomorrow we get a belated birthday buck.
We'll wait till next year now.
Yeah, I know. Dang it. Probably hit one on the way home with Orb's truck. I hope not. No birthday buck for Jake. Boo-hoo. Boo-hoo.